Before we start today's show, today we want to give a big shout out to Buzz TV. Man, Buzz TV has some really good devices, man. Like this last year, they've come up with some good stuff, and this new year, I'm excited to see what they got.
Yo, it's going to be straight fire. Some devices and features, because I don't want to say one or the other. With Buzz TV, it's hand in hand. They've dropped some fire devices and some amazing features that are always taking things to the next level. We also have been in talks with Omni Labs Robotics, bringing their telecommunication devices and robots to the next level, bringing everybody closer together.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys, their telepresence that you get is very cool. If you guys don't know what telepresence is having a pretty much a robot in front of you where you are remoted somewhere else, and it's like you're there physically, but not really physically. You're there through the robot. It's very cool. Make sure you guys check them out in the description below. Make sure you guys do check out that link. And also, there's this other one that we were playing with, which is very similar to Wolf Launcher, called FCD Box. People are they've been looking for different launchers. They've been looking to see what is out there and available.
You know, it's fully customizable. You can change everything from the icons to the background, not even locally. You can do it remotely as well. So it brings a whole another level of customization to your devices. If you are helping, your families and friends set them up, you're going to want to check this out and see if it's going to be able to help you, your family, your friends, all of you guys get on the next level with all the launchers on different devices. Talking about devices and streaming and all that stuff, you also want to make sure that no matter what you do online, you stay protected. There's so many VPN services out there. We talk about all the time. Make sure that you guys try them out. You check them out, see which ones work best for you.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys do check out those VPNs. We do have a couple of them that we recommend in the description below. So make sure you guys do get those, just get protected, guys. So don't forget to check out the description below for all of these guys that we have shouted out today.
No matter where you guys are listening, watching, whatever from, make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, that like, drop us a comment, and the reviews actually help us a great deal. If you're looking to do anything for us in this year coming and beyond, the reviews help other viewers like yourself find this podcast and enjoy it as well. So thank you guys. And with all that being said, let's start the show.
And welcome back to another What the Hell Happened last month episode. Today we got Jugs is in the house. How's it going, Jugs?
Good. How about you guys?
Good, man. Real good. And of course, Next Level. How you doing, dude?
Yeah, I'm here. I ate some wings really late last night and they're still settling, so.
And that's why you don't sleep.
I ate pizza. I had pizza last night.
Oh, man. So if you guys are interested in who the hell is Jugs, we did a two-part episode a few months back. So make sure you guys do check it out. Just go to either YouTube or whatever podcast you guys are all in, and then just search The Juggernaut. You'll find them. So we're going to kick this off running. What the hell happened at a freaking flea market in Florida where these four numbnuts literally are selling, and as they quote, jailbroken Firesticks? And for one, why would you set up a store at a freaking swap meet and say, hey, here's free TV for life? You just have to buy the Fire Stick for $100 or whatever they're selling it for. It's like, why?
It's crazy,
Well,
man. There's stores everywhere. There's honestly stores everywhere, and a lot of the people that were selling them in these flea markets was like a secondary thing that they were selling. But they had posters up everywhere in public places. It's just ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah, they showed like in some of the newscasts, or like as for evidence, there was like a poster that was like handwritten and it says like Fire TV stick. Like it had little things on there like movies and like as in what you get, welcome Firestick TV, things like that, and it's just like, what are you doing?
I know something similar like this happened a few years back, but it wasn't at a flea market or swap meet. It was a legit store. Somebody in the UK, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. Somebody in the UK was renting a storefront space in a building, and there was on the window signs that said, get free Bean Sports, get free Sky, get free this, that, everything from the UK. And they had a picture of a fire stick. And so I think from what I remembered was it was a police officer was coming right through, saw it and said, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
And then he goes in and then he walks out with the people in handcuffs.
Yeah.
It's even worse in the UK because just for owning a TV, there's a TV tax. So there's nothing in regards to a TV that's free.
Well, and they passed like that. When was it? Last year in the EU, like where they passed the Article 13 and 17 about owning, promoting, and even reselling or using devices that they use certain legalese terms, like but in action that you can get free content, copyrighted content that you could be charged. Mm-hmm. You know, like with that one that happened in the States with the Firesticks, whatever. Like the charges that they're getting is for like advertised to promote the sale of intercept device. But it also said that any consumer, I'm just reading that part, any consumer caught on one in their home could face a misdemeanor. So if anybody bought one of their devices, could face a misdemeanor. Like, give me a break. Like, just give me a break. Okay, so I get channels on my Plex. Okay, so am I breaking the law there? Like, it's just becoming. I think this was I always am the person who believes that there's some sort of bigger conspiracy theory. Like, it's just because it all comes into one. Where that, I don't know who that. Remember, I'm from Canada, so I don't know if it's North Carolina. What do you call you guys down there? Governors
or mayors?
Yeah, of NC was putting in the bill for the president to sign for one of his last things that talks about stuff like that. I think that's all part and parcel. I think it's that to bring it into the limelight in order to help something like that. That's what I think it is.
Well, I think it's two things. Obviously, it's that, but in the beginning, when your business starts to have less funds coming in as a business, you have to look at, okay, where do we trim around the edges? How do we tighten up our belts? Where do we recoup some of that money from? So obviously, they started looking at paying off, I guess, these governors to write things into the bills to get back some of the money or to deter people from getting it free places so that they'd go back to paying legitimate sources or whatever the case is.
Yes, but they do things like that. They go way like left to center to do things like that. But what are you guys typing? So you're typing in private, aren't you? See, so but they do things like that. But you can see where the availability of whatever avenue or route that you take to get content is becoming more readily available, again, using that term, in the mainstream, when you have a lot of the big companies starting their own a la carte streaming, their own streaming devices. Like up here in Canada, we have like our main provider for cable and stuff like that, TV is SaskTel. SaskTel has their own Android proprietary box that you can choose what you want streaming on there. Google itself has their own service that was like $20 a month, or maybe it was 50 or something like that. No sports though, but you could have it streaming, which was their, it had all their like A&E and home shop, not home shopping, like all those things, whatever. So now that's happening more and more. So if it is such a thing that they are trying to clamp down on it so much, it is, to me, just one of those ways that they're trying to control something they can't control. Because now that they're getting into the business, anything that is not done with them, they're losing money on. Always about the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, that's what I feel it is. It's always about the dollar. Not about the law, not about getting content for free, not about circumventing or whatever route you want to take or whatever you want to do. Watching a movie that on a service that costs you less than going for a movie ticket and you get the service for a year. It's because they're not getting the money. That's all.
Now, you did say about the whole a la carte thing, and I will say this on the a la carte with, I think cable companies had their chance of doing an a la carte. You had your basic cable channels, and then you had your premium where you got a couple extra, TNT, ESPN, a couple extra ones.
Yeah.
And then you had the exclusive channels, which were more of your HBO, Cinemax, Showtime. But see, I think what was happening was HBO, Cinemax, whatever the hell, all these movie channels were saying, these cable companies are freaking making out like bandits. We're over here in a contract with them for whatever millions of dollars, but they're over here making billions of dollars. This makes no sense. Let's make HBO go. Let's make Cinemax go, or whatever they have. And then now it's like, wait, let's break off from them completely and then just do our own stuff, HBO Max. And let's do our own exclusive stuff. And I think what's happened now is, like, okay, Disney, for example. Disney's a great one. Disney's going around saying, hey, we're going to buy Hulu. We're going to buy ESPN. And guess what? Now we have Disney Plus. They're like, hey, you guys want an a la carte? You don't need no Netflix. We're going to take everything Marvel related, anything Fox related, anything. Like, they own so much stuff and said, hey, you want your a la carte? This is going to be as close as possible. And instead of you paying, I don't know what it is, like, I know the cable companies used to charge like $10, $15, $20 a month, or I think it was like $10 a month per exclusive movie channel.
Yeah,
now they're
tier.
The tiers. Now you're just like, you know what? We're going to charge $12.99 and you could have all three of them a month. So I think I don't know. I think the cable companies blew it, and I think because they were so money hungry that there's nothing that you can do. So now you got freaking Chang Wong Bong in freaking Florida selling these broken Fire Sticks, and I think his name was Bong. His last name was Bong. And then you got, I think he was the 80-year-old too, right? They got arrested. Yeah. It's just like. And you got another 60-year-old or 70-year-old. Yeah. You got one young guy, some young boy that was probably in his, I don't know, 40s or 50s. I don't know what
34,
he was.
34.
34 numbnuts. It's like, dude, seriously? And they're like, ooh, we bought these.
He was the one that was showing you. He's like, hey, I do this all myself. Look, I'm doing it right here.
It's like, it's like, the 88-year-old was Bong Woo. Bong Woo Ro.
Bong Woo. Hey, they stole your bongs, guys. No more bongs.
Yeah. It's well, and you think, what is, in your guys' opinion, one of the main reasons people like, one of the most revenue generated packages or available, something is available from the cable services that generate tons of money for that business, but people got to have it.
Pay-per-view.
Yep. ESPN does all the UFCs. Mm-hmm. So not Dana White. If Disney buys ESPN, and it's ESPN Plus, so I don't know if there's a separation there, But
I think they own it.
so that's a whole worldwide sweep. If you got 1%, and you know those numbers like that, like if you got 1% of the people buying that service just to watch the pay-per-views, if it was built into some sort of tier package in there that you pay $20 a month and you have all this plus pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one of the selling points that I see. People who do sell online services. Well, you can get all the sports, you can get the pay-per-views, plus you get all these live and you get whatever like that. It's only $15 a month. Well, if you got Disney Plus, yeah, you have this and you can get 4K content and high def content and all the Marvel and all the Fox and the ESPN products that they like that for $20 a month.
Yeah, Star Wars, National Geographic.
Yeah, welcome to the streaming world for real. It's just the way it is.
Now, that's a really good start of the next thing here. YouTube's new policy. Welcome to the streaming world, except we can't teach you a couple things anymore. So YouTube dropped some new streaming policies, some new gaming hacking policies. It's not just streaming, but I think with several content creators, there's a lot of how to find this stuff out there for free. And YouTube dropped YouTube dropped this policy where you no longer, and they stated it in a way where it was very smart the way they stated it. And they even put a blanket over it too. They're like, hey, let's put all these different levels and then blanket the whole thing on top of it. So so the thing with them is, for anybody out there that doesn't know what I'm talking about, if it has to do with a monetized product, so you're talking about like Disney Plus, for example, it's a great one. Netflix, another big one. You want to talk about games? I know Cyberpunk had one where there's a video going around that, hey, how to get Cyberpunk for free, video games. Now, not just the new games, but this also blankets any kind of old school games. So all the ROMs, music, anything with like Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, like all of that stuff, music videos. It was like anything visual, anything audio, getting Windows for free, like all these ways of how you're supposed to pay certain things. They're now saying, okay, any of those type of videos, that's against our community policies, period.
So it's interesting. So I think it's like 2 weeks before they came out with these changes, I got a strike on my channel. And then the next week you got a strike on your channel. And then they came out with the changes. And, YouTube has always been in the business where they're protecting themselves. They're never going to hire a lawyer to defend themselves because the issue is always the content creator, right? And that's how they've always been. Oh, you got a strike? Then you got to take it up with them. It's not our fault. It's you. You did the content, not us, right? So they've always washed their hands, and they're very good at writing these blanket statements. And they're telling you blatantly, any of this stuff, because we don't want the issue, is the onus is on you, and we'll do our due diligence to keep your crap off our platform. And where else do you go? There's no other platform that has the views, the traffics, the monetization that YouTube does. I mean, we've talked about it as content creators all the time. Oh, where would we go? What would we do? And we can never really figure out a definitive, we'll go here or we'll do this. It's very difficult to move from YouTube as a platform and monetize yourself somewhere else.
Yeah, it's so. Oh man, and that's the thing. Like, people were talking about Cocoscope, like, oh, we should go to Cocoscope, and it's just like, people have tried going to Cocoscope and it doesn't work. And then even then, if it comes down to the point where Cocoscope starts getting advertisements and companies want to start paying for ads because they have a good traffic, they're gonna have to follow the laws of the land. If the state says, hey, you know what, this is not cool, guess what? Cocoscope's gonna have to follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same thing with like I don't want to get too far into the whole Telegram thing, but Telegram just recently said, hey, they're going to be adding some monetization on just recently too. And, you know, we've seen groups shut down from Telegram. So it doesn't, and people say, why don't you go to Telegram? You can't. Why don't you do this? You can't. Even private websites. Why can't you just make a private website? Those get shut down too. They'll go down to whoever the provider is and just shut it down. So with these new rules and laws, I know I'm going to piss several people off by saying this, but all you guys,
You people,
ladies and gentlemen, if you start doing videos, and I know there's a couple of yous out there, why I've been saying this for years, why don't you do a Plex? No, you moron, because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're going to teach people to find this information out there somewhere. And even for F's sakes, let's just say I'm using my own library and I'm going to put it in my own storage and I'm going to put it in my own MB or Plex or whatever. You're going to share it with somebody. The second you share it with somebody, that's it. Illegal. Instantly. A lot of these rules say you cannot share. There's reproduction of this stuff is called sharing. The only way you can get away with it, literally, is if you say, here is my DVD, take it, you could borrow it, or you could have it. You're exchanging something saying, here, go ahead and take it. That's the only way. That is the only way.
Well, and then there's on that part there's I'm going to jump back for 1 second. Is with YouTube, what is happening, or what has been happening for a long time, is they have it's called the Trusted Flagger program. And the Trusted Flagger program is for non-government agencies, whatever. So basically, if you can be approved, you can sign up. You are basically a scavenger rat. You're going around, and that's where I think some people who are getting away with content that if even myself with only 3,000 subscribers was to put it up there, I'd get a strike. But someone who has 60,000 subscribers has 100 to 200 videos on it and gets nothing. Okay, well, to me, my mind, you're a flagger. So that's why they're kind of letting you, and prove me wrong. You know, like, and it's not a challenge. Anybody who's watching this, not a challenge to prove me wrong, because I'm not pointing the finger to anybody specific, but that's the mentality. And the reason I mention that is because some people are not educated enough within our community to know the difference or what can be on YouTube and what not. And that's why, jumping back to now what you were saying, is like people are not educated enough, or they think they are, and then they open their mouth, as in, example, directly, this Plex. I just saw a video the other day that talked about a person was talking about how they purchased something and they actually got a bunch of DVDs or Blu-rays or things like that. Okay, so you have a physical copy. You have a physical copy that they said, and I made copies of it. Now, okay, you put it on for your enjoyment. You can do that. Legally, you can make a copy, but you cannot share it because that breaks distribution copyright laws. They never mentioned about, I added it to my Plex so, people can watch it or things like that. They never said that. But when you're saying things like that, that sparks something in the person who's trying to get that niche, to try to get that gimmick. Oh, geez, well, if I did something like that and I got like a new device and I got this and I got a whole bunch of movies, but I could add that to my Plex, and I charge $5 and, whatever, I make money off of it. But because you didn't clearly say this was for my personal use, I do not recommend, and I do not condone you doing it that way. You can be held accountable for teaching somebody how to circumvent copyright.
That right there.
And don't ever think just because you put it in the description of your video, it doesn't save your ass. Okay, it's just.
But Jug, here's a question for you, right? Like, in all reality, realistic, whatever the hell you want to call it, if they were okay with us even reproducing it for our own use, then why have all those copyright protections on those discs? Because it's not as simple as copying and pasting from the disk to your drive.
Yeah.
It's not.
I know.
You literally have to crack, I'm just using a general term, a DVD or a Blu-ray and take off copyright protection. If it was okay to have it as a backup copy or a digital copy or reproduce it into some kind of medium like another disc or something, they wouldn't really have that protection on there.
Well, I think it's because in order for them to have that protection, if they didn't have that and said, okay, well, we make it easier or we make it accessible that you can make a backup copy, but please don't share it. Just don't. Copyright, putting it on there, it might be part of that copyright wording or legalese there that it has to be on there and make it difficult to do that. Because it is like in copyright law, it does say that you can have a copy if you own it. If you own it, but it's under the onus. Like you can't just say, hey, here's my DVD, I own it. Okay, where's your receipt? Where'd you buy it from? I got it from Next Level. Then you don't own it, he does. And you just ratted him out. Thanks for dry snitching.
Yeah. I've seen people with backups, like not the actual real ones. And they're like, I own this, so it's okay for me to make copies. I'm like, no.
That's redistribution.
Yeah, exactly.
Redistribution.
That's where because they may, I feel that they don't, and they being the legal department, no matter what it is, whether it be Ace or anybody else or whoever is trying to go after, whoever makes it their career, and it is their job to catch those who are doing copyright infringement, don't bust people enough that they will just cast such a wide net just to catch whatever they can. Example is the 4 people selling Firesticks.
Now, the last thing I will say on this subject, and this is for all you content creators, and I'm sorry if I pissed any of you guys off, but I guess you could say I'm kind of looking out for you, and if you don't want to listen, and if you want to make your own excuses to say this is still good, whatever, you're on your own will. This is your own thing. When you teach somebody, and I use this analogy on one of the live shows, if you are telling the horse, here is the water, that's it, you're in trouble. If you're telling the horse, this is how to find the water, that's it, you're in trouble. If you tell the horse, hey, over there, that way, you're not really telling them, but you're kind of like, if you go over here, and no, there's zero. You literally, you cannot say, hey, this is what I like what Jugs just said. This is what I got off of my Plex. This is what I was able to find here. This is what I found over there. Nothing. You can't even say like, hey, in my Plex, I have this, because you're already stating that, hey, if anybody wants my Plex, just hit me up. No. Nothing like that. Unless you're on phone calls and you know these people and you're just like, hey, yeah, you want my Plex? Here you go. Even if even that could get you in trouble. If your phone was tapped, guess what? You just admitted what you're doing. Don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Don't do anything with it. Just be careful. Or like how Trooper says, wash that ass.
Well, and keep in mind, everybody, that no matter whatever the illegal event is, not just talking about community, whatever it is, every law and every arrest is made to catch the bigger fish. So if you are not the person who is the big fish in our, like it's saying, the community of streaming or providing services, then when they get you, that's when they'll try to get you to help get the big fish. That's what it is. And they have laws exactly for that. If somebody comes up to you in Canada and says, hey, can I buy a joint? Dude, I don't deal drugs. But Bill over there, it's an automatic 18 months. 18 months because you pointed.
Wow.
So the same thing happens with copyright. It is the same thing. Hey, look, there's water. Do you know how to get water? No, I don't know how to get water. Search on YouTube. This is who you look up. Bing. But yes,
You know,
Sorry, I stuck in a word there. Sorry.
no matter what you learn on YouTube, moral of the story, do your research.
Yep.
Right? Because not everything you hear is going to keep you safe. It's better to be, safe than sorry. So if you hear something and it sounds too good to be true, or you're like, maybe whatever, always question everything and do your research. Speaking about YouTube, everybody knows who Joe Rogan is. Joe Rogan got a contract with Spotify for $100 million, right? And it's starting to cause ripples and waves. So I briefly wanted to talk with you guys about Joe Rogan deleting 1.8 billion views from YouTube because he's now been paid to switch platforms.
But also in Spotify, there's a lot of people that were threatening to leave Spotify if Joe Rogan stayed with Spotify.
Well, it gets better than that, Jugs. There's people in Spotify that have deleted some of his podcasts because they don't agree with it.
Like it's crazy. But okay, but here's my question is, if you were Joe Rogan and you were making literally millions a year off of your content and you just keep doing it and going, do you waste time thinking about what's got deleted and what people are thinking? Or do you just keep trudging through? This is what they're paying me for. I keep going. I keep doing it. If it lasts, it lasts. If it don't, it don't. F everybody else. Or does he sit there and go, what? 10 million, but what? 20 million. Hey, Jason or whatever. Hey, we got to get on this. We got to get on this. You better call my lawyers and stuff. Or he's just like, whatever.
He don't care.
I completely agree with what you said. The thing is that the little people, the little guys, for lack of a better term, they're always going to feel salty. But business is business, right? The reason a lot of these people liked him on YouTube was because it was quote unquote free, right? You could go there, you could watch the clips. It was convenient. People didn't want to move to another platform, right? It's like all of our parents who are still using Facebook and all of the kids now who are like, what is Facebook? It's like people don't like changing platforms. They don't want to move. If you follow your favorite creator, like let's say your favorite creator is Rohas, and you've been following him for 4 years on YouTube, and all of a sudden Rohas is like, I'm going to Cocoscope. Are you going to follow Rohas to Cocoscope? People don't want to make that decision.
Well, I'm going to because there's boobies on Cocoscope.
I like Cocoscope.
AKA hooker scope. But okay, so maybe next level. Because Joe Rogan is like just like you guys are on several different platforms, not just visual, like not just YouTube. A lot of it he does podcasts, just audio, and he films and records and has it for YouTube. Is it part of his Spotify that he can no longer do stuff on YouTube?
I don't know the whole contract. Well, you know what? It was an exclusive deal. His podcast can only be on Spotify.
Podcast though.
Podcast.
YouTube is not a podcast,
but it's the same content.
Yeah, that's. I'm just wondering.
It's the same content.
Yeah, it's because YouTube was just a free venue. Like he wasn't contracted by YouTube. He just put it out there and monetized or sponsorship or however he does that. So, but it is. You're right. It's the same. It is like Spotify saying we now own your content. You can't go put it somewhere else.
Even if it's not the exact same medium now, it's not to say that next year it's not going to be the same medium, because Netflix this year just came out with an audio only mode, right? You think YouTube down the road is not going to come out with an audio only mode?
Yeah.
Then what? Then everything that's on Spotify and YouTube becomes the same medium.
Well, YouTube has that paid YouTube Red.
Yep.
And you could turn off your phone and it still plays the audio.
Yeah.
So they kind of have something like that already going. And if you want to listen to it, you can. If you want to watch the video, just turn on your phone and then it's still playing.
Yeah.
So YouTube's already kind of going there. The only thing is when you hear YouTube Red, you think of like, well, there's Cobra Kai, there's this movie or TV show, no ads. You get like very specific things, but people haven't put two and two together where it's just like, dude, you could do just audio by doing the same thing.
Right.
I think if YouTube was smart, they'll probably say, hey, let's do a YouTube audio. So we'll have a YouTube Red and YouTube audio. And there's people that are going to be like, ooh, I could get both. And it's like, oh my, it's the same freaking thing, guys. Come on.
Well, they do have the YouTube Music. Like that is an application, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the thing that was really alarming to me as a content creator was the idea of how much it would hurt to delete 1.8 billion views.
Billion views. I
Like
know.
that, like that's a sucker punch and a half. Like recently when I got my copyright strike or my guideline strike or whatever the heck you want to call it, I had to delete 1.5 million views from my channel. I just decided I'm going to delete a bunch of stuff. I still have a lot more I'm going to delete, but like that was the first time I've really done a purge. And Rohas and I have talked about it. He's done a purge a lot of times, like every year he does a purge. And you know, my 1.5 is nothing compared to 1.8 billion. Like that's literally like, I think that's got to be somewhere along the lines of historic, because a lot of these interviews that Joe Rogan has had the privilege of doing is with some really impactful people in society.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's nobody who, unless they have a grudge or something like that, but nobody has said no to be on Joe Rogan. Like he's had like out of the blue, he said like, hey, I was sitting there one day and I'm like, let's get this person on there. Called him up and look, you're here. Thanks for coming. It's like, okay, but can you seriously imagine? It'd be just like the same in the realm of if Howard Stern or somebody, or now on Netflix, someone like David Letterman, like that they're doing those platforms, even though they were famous before and stuff. But if they called you up as a creator and said, listen, hey, listen, we want to do an interview of the little guys, the fresh starters, the new in the last few years, I would drop my phone and probably have to run to the bathroom because I'd be like pissing my pants. I'm like, what? I'm going to be on there. Like, you don't say no. So yeah, they're when it comes to the level of influencer, there's not very many that are higher than Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. He's in the realm of YouTube and podcasts.
It's crazy because you mentioned Howard Stern and you're talking about them on the same level. A lot of people don't realize it. They are. And I'm saying that because XM Satellite Radio has just signed $100 million deal with Howard Stern. Like, I didn't even know XM Satellite Radio was still around. I don't even know anybody that uses XM Satellite Radio. Like, how do they still have? I guess a lot of people do. I guess it's really popular in cars or something. But maybe it was a wake up to me. I was like, I didn't even know they had $100 million. Like,
well, when you look at Howard Stern, like, okay, he's got his own podcast.
Yeah.
You can't run to YouTube and find, hey, let me hear Howard Stern's latest episode. You can't.
True.
You can't. Like, beyond the streams, we're just like, hey, you know what? We're I guess you could say we're little guys still, but we don't have contracts with any of these podcast platforms, audio platforms, YouTube platform. We don't have these sponsorships to say, hey, can you go exclusively on that thing? And you know what? I think I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's been several people out there that have told Joe Rogan, and I know Howard Stern was on all the podcasts at one point, and they probably told them, hey, what if we gave you 5 million? What if we gave you 10 million? What if we give you 50 million? And then finally somebody said, you know what? We'll just give you $10 billion. Just stay on our freaking platform and that's it. They're not going to say no once they hear those numbers.
It's a very interesting point that you're bringing up here, because I feel like Joe Rogan is going down the path that Howard Stern had to go down earlier in his career, right? Mm-hmm. Because no matter what, he's iconic, right? If you love him or you hate him, Howard Stern has always been Howard Stern, and he's made a living being Howard Stern, right? Everybody on his show, to Beetlejuice, to Ed the Sock, all of them, they are who they are. They don't care. And people pay money for that, right? He's made a living being exactly who he is. And at one point, he was everywhere, right? But he had to or, for business purposes, join one platform instead of being everywhere. And he made that decision years ago, because I remember seeing videos of him all the time. He used to be on TV and all kinds of stuff, and then he disappeared, right? But his loyal followers knew where to find him, right? And this was years ago. So now Joe Rogan went from being everywhere to, if you want to find Joe Rogan, he is the face of Spotify. You have to go to Spotify, right? And I think that's the same thing with Howard Stern. If you want to find Howard Stern, he's the face of XM Satellite Radio. Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure somebody will, but I don't think there's anybody else that XM Satellite Radio has that they pay more than Howard Stern for.
No,
I don't think so.
And he does whatever he wants.
They said they will continue to pay him until he retires.
Yep.
They don't care.
And why retire? When you're making that much money, why retire? You could be 70, 80 years old, turn on the mic and just talk shit for several hours. Why not?
Well, here's a good question then. Did podcasting kill the radio star or the radio host, right? Because that was a job before where somebody as a host of a radio station would just get on. They could be pissed drunk and they would just talk their face off and they would get paid.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if it killed the radio host, because there's still like over here in LA, we got Big Boy, and he's got, he'll have his segments. There's this. Okay. So if you guys don't know who Big Boy is, search him up. And if you do not, if you're just like, I don't know how to search him, you can go on YouTube and just put like Big Boy's phone calls or crank calls, and he does this like 2 to 4 minutes where he calls somebody and he just talks smack. It's hilarious, and then they'll play his music and do everything. But he also has his own podcast, like completely separate, where they talk. He interviews other musicians and other celebrities. So I think it depends. Like these these are like real DJs. These aren't DJs that just get on the turntables and go chicka, chicka, chicka. Like these guys actually like talk, and they have a personality. They'll tell stories. They have multiple jobs, and I think there's very few people out there that know how to do it. Like Howard Stern is not a DJ. Neither is Joe Rogan. But when you look at Big Boy, he's got where he can do the DJ thing. He can be a storyteller, so I think it varies. I don't know if I would call it like they killed the commentators,
I would just say to that, it's because he understood the change. Like if you just wanted to stay on the radio and be a radio person, you are limiting yourself to the world. Right. Because he understood, I can have a podcast, I can go on YouTube, or I can do whatever. There is more ways of exposures to keep yourself relevant than ever before, for sure. But if somebody just wanted to be sitting at a mic in a radio station, you're always just going to have that little place, and you never really know the longevity of your position. That's just what I'm saying, because I do think that if you do get to the point where, your podcast gets to a certain level, if you take it to the next one, then you can make a lot more than a radio host.
Well, and then especially if you make use of you missed it, you needed that bump. But if you aren't like exactly what you guys are doing, that's why I give you guys praise and stuff like that, because I'm going to follow suit and stuff like that, because it's a good guideline, and you guys are forging a path for creators like myself and everybody else who, whether they like to say it or not, are watching and looking, because there is a difference of diversifying your content on YouTube. So, okay, so you're trying different things like that. You guys are diversifying your brand over platforms. Completely different, but along the same mind process. So that's when these radio DJs or radio hosts or anything like that make use of different mediums. Like Howard Stern was on the radio, then he had a TV program where they were showing inside the studio and the stuff they were doing, then going to XM radio, which XM radio is like in every new car has XM radio. That's a satellite radio because they bought Cyrus. Our Cyrus and XM radio are the same now, or same company, whatever.
Yeah, I have Sirius.
There you go. Yeah. But it's like, but if you are nowadays just going to sit on one platform, then you reap what you sow. You are going to stay stagnant. You're going to stay with your little bit of movement upwards, whatever it is. However you quantify your existence in the community. Mine, I used to want it to be like get the views and things like that. I have been waiting and stalling. If you see, there's nothing that's been happening on my channel because it's all coming in 2021. I've been changing a lot of things, and I'm going to be riding your guys' coattails, plain and simple, because you guys have such brilliant ideas, and there's no way that I can do it in the level that you guys are because I'm not at the next level. Mm-hmm. But it, what do you call it? Like, we'll be doing different things and stuff like that, and anybody who isn't prepared to do that, especially with all the changes, rules, and regulations that are coming across all platforms, radio, TV, anything like that, not just YouTube, not just the stuff we do, well, then you're going to be left behind. Plain and simple, you're going to become stagnant. You're going to be the one that depends on doing borderline community guidelines, strikeable content all the time. And who wants to be stuck and do that? I'm tired of thinking like, geez, will this get it? Should I do this or should I do that? No, I want to be comfortable. I'm doing this, doing that, and just keep going. Next, just pumping them out, doing things, Yeah.
Now, with speaking of content, are you guys fans of Disney Plus?
Yeah, I watch it.
Disney Plus, next level looks confused there.
I mean, I'm a fan of it. Do I subscribe? I don't. But I don't subscribe to Netflix, Disney. I don't subscribe to anything.
You're not subscribed to anything. So for you Disney fans out there, Disney has announced that they're going to be raising their prices pretty soon. So right now it's $6.99 a month, and they're raising it up a whole $1 to $7.99. For some people, they might be like, dude, that means for the year, right now for the year, it's $69.99 for the year, and it's going to go up $10 for the year, $79.99. And that could be a big deal for people. That might be a deal breaker. But amongst all this, I don't know, with the whole pandemic, with the whole new laws of the streaming, with not able to go see movies anywhere, they decided to go up just a little bit. And they're adding a grip ton of content. And I mean, if you guys missed, they did this whole, like, I don't know what to call it. This whole thing of presentation of everything coming from Marvel, everything coming from Star Wars, everything coming from Pixar. Like, it is insane. They one of the coolest things, I was sitting there on the 25th, and the Wonder Woman movie just came out. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but okay, first off, Jugs, did you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Next Level, are you gonna watch it? Yes or no question, dude.
It's gonna be white noise if I watch it.
Okay, so I don't feel bad then saying a couple things. Movie sucked.
Big time.
Okay, and then some of you guys are gonna be like, but it's Wonder Woman. She's wearing a crop top with the skirt. Okay, whatever. The movie still sucked.
She is that however you say her name, she's an absolutely gorgeous woman. But you want to get ruined? Watching her. Watch the Fast and Furious scene where she's walking in her bathing suit on the beach with Han. My wife goes, man, she's beautiful. And then she's walking and she's like, but that ass though. What? Oh, geez. No. Ruined it.
Gal Gadot, I think.
Yeah.
I can't
She's like with that accent and stuff like that. Man. If my wife's gonna watch this, that's right. I would. But the movie itself, like you with all the movies, because I think in general for movies, I think we're expecting just great big productions, like well they are in general anyways, but just blow me away movies because we haven't been able to see any new ones. Then we get this one. The beginning rocked. I liked the games.
Oh hell yeah.
The beginning
Games is good. I saw that part. I saw it already.
and then and then some of the regular fight scenes and things like that, and then I like the tie-in about when you learned about the invisibility part. Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, what? You're Superman, and that fight at the end with the cheetah, whatever, the girl or whatever, that was a cluster. My goodness, there's so much going on. I'm like, whatever. I fell asleep the first 2 times.
You know what? Wonder Woman is exactly like 2020.
Oh,
It started off great. It slowly started going to what the hell is happening.
Yeah.
And then is like, fuck, I can't do nothing. I can't go outside. This sucks. The whole thing is but I will say this, the saving grace to 2020, Disney Plus dropped that Soul movie.
That's a good movie.
If Jugs, have you seen it?
No.
Oh my goodness.
It's an animation.
It's an animation called Soul. Soul. Oh my gosh. I saw the trailer and I won't say too much on it. I will speak a little bit on it though. I saw the trailer and they showed how they're going to, the beyond, like beyond life. And then he doesn't want to leave. So he goes to this little like waiting room area where all the souls are waiting to be ready to go to Earth. And I'm just thinking like, I don't know if anybody's religious that's listening or watching or you guys, but with stuff in like the Bible, it says that everybody has a soul and they're pretty much waiting their turn to be born. And when all the souls are there, it's kind of like the same thing. Like they're getting their personalities, they're getting their traits, they're getting all their little who makes them unique. And when they finally find the time to say, okay, we're ready, that's when they're being born. And it's kind of like one of the things that I was thinking about, I'm like, they made this so like they touched on the Bible without really saying this is the Bible. But when they were saying like how, oh, I don't remember any of this. And it was just like, wait a minute. When do you wake up? Meaning, how far can you remember? And some people say like, hey, you know what? If you ask a child, hey, do you remember the first time you went to Disney? You were like 2 years old. They're like, what? I never went to Disney. Do you remember when we did this when you were like 3? Well, kinda. When you get that kinda, that's when people's brain power is starting to wake up, understand, and starting to put 2 and 2 together. But some of the things that they referenced in there, I'm just like, man, like some of this stuff just makes so much sense. And then the meaning behind the movie, like I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, this movie saved 2020. I don't know if I would call it like the best movie out there, but after dropping
Wonder Woman,
and then Soul came out at the exact same time on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. I'm like, thank you, Disney. It was I was sucked in the movie the whole time. I was just like, this movie is great.
So Rojas, interesting story. I watched a Beyond the Streams episode from October. And in that episode, we talked about Disney Plus, right? And we were actually talking about, they had just talked about or just launched their premieres. And their premieres, as everyone knows, they charge $30 for the premiere if you have Disney Plus or not, right? So in that episode, we were actually talking hypothetically if they had 2 different price plans. And I'm going to bring this back up, right? One was the standard price plan of whatever it is. If it's $8 now, it's $8, because in that episode, we discussed the value, and irregardless, you get value. You can share it with up to, I think, 10 people. There's a lot of content on there. You're going to get value no matter what, right? But I think that they do need to come out with a secondary price plan if you are going to be spending the $15 or $20 that Netflix has and include those premieres, right? And I think it's a really interesting concept. You think CGI and everything that Disney is putting into the continuation of their new content. We talk about things like The Mandalorian, where they're spending somewhere around $2 million an episode. People who watch The Mandalorian, they're like, it's a movie. It's not a show. Like, it feels like a movie when you watch it, right? And these productions cost money. Not to say that they're not making money off these streaming services, because hell yeah, they are. When it first came out, their servers shut down because they weren't expecting so many people to jump on board.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can't argue that you're not going to get value at $8, at $9, at $20. Hell, even at $30 a month, you're getting value, especially if you can share it up to 10 people and it's not IP locked, so you can use it at different locations, right? I think people have to be a little realistic. When Netflix first came out, it wasn't $15 then, right? They were just growing, right? But you have to understand, when Netflix came out to what Netflix is today, Netflix isn't just a streaming provider. They're not just a re-streaming provider. They're going out and grabbing some of the biggest creators in the world. Dave Chappelle. They're grabbing people off YouTube, and they are creating through these creators by way of contract and reimbursements and payments and all kinds of stuff. You know, $20 million, $50 million original content, right? And you know, Disney has always had original content, and it's just a way for them to understand what the future looks like. The future right now, at least in 2020, maybe not even 2021, it's not hundreds of thousands and millions of people rushing to the theater to see something on day one. So how do they move and evolve with the times? And, you know, the premieres was one way that we haven't seen any other platform really touch on. Netflix could have done it if they made certain deals with, you know, Universal, with Disney, with whoever. They could have made similar deals like a premiere, but they would have to make those deals directly with those companies. Disney is Disney. They don't have to make a deal. They just say, hey, we want to make this certain amount of money. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's more that's going to be coming out from Disney Plus that, you know, you make a good point. I think with everything that they're going to be coming out in January, WandaVision, with some of these new TV shows and movies, it's just it's I don't know. I think Disney's doing a great job, and I don't mind the dollar hike.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are like, "Oh my gosh!" It's like, dude, it's $1. Like, if it's gonna make it or break it, then just get rid of it. You know, if you're gonna be crying over $1, whatever.
So, this is the last thing I'm going to say on the topic. I know when we started this topic, I said I don't have any platforms, any services, no Netflix, no Disney Plus, no Hulu, no nothing. But I will say, I've been very adamant my whole life not to have any services. But today, being 2021, I am more inclined to thinking that I will get a service because the amount of value that comes with it, right? Back when they first got started, they were very limited. But now there's so much content, there's so much variety, and there's so much value to cutting the cord. Legitimately, there is. So that's the last thing I'm going to say about that.
Well, I feel on the whole thing is that because of the ever evolving and snowballing effect of the streaming community that we've been part of for many years, is one of the biggest things is less ads, more content, different and variety of content that you see things like when Disney Plus made the big move and Netflix started to suffer just a little bit, and then boom, they hammered out their saving grace with Netflix originals coming out, where they are doing a fantastic job with that. The stuff that come up with that as well. Now Disney's going to be doing the same. Those are the saving graces for those, but because those resources or those services are popular, is because of the community that we're part of.
Yeah.
That we've been that that, not to say, not to brag or things like that, or thing, like you think about it. Two of us in this conversation right now have groundbreaking, but they have builds that were put on a very famous open source media player that have been used worldwide millions of times. And right, like that amazes me, because I've only been in it for so long. And the Juggernaut one itself is like this. And when I took over Titanium, but I mentioned that because we are part of that. We are part of that community. I'm glad I'm part of it. I came in only in the last few years, and Rojas has been in it for a lot longer. In regards to specifically with the K app, is that started this all.
Yeah,
that like it no ads, content, things like
it's
that.
crazy because we see it happen all the time. We see it where things like this will happen, and then it has to create change in order for things to get better. There's an issue right now. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there's a lawsuit that was been filed by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, where nearly all the states are against social media giants, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. They're saying that for nearly a decade, Facebook has used its dominance to cause a monopoly and crush smaller rivals and stifle them out of competition. Right? I think it's interesting where the U.S. government is saying, okay, no more. You need to have more room for competition. How do you guys feel about the U.S. government getting involved, filing a lawsuit directly against Facebook?
Money. They want part of it somehow. Plain and simple. They want part of it somehow. If I was Zuckerberg or anybody in that, because WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, I don't know, is Instagram incorporated into, like, if I was that, lack of a better term, that juggernaut, and I'm moving forward, F everybody. I'm rolling over on everybody. You got something I like, I'm making you an offer, I'm rolling you into us. Your feature now becomes my feature.
Yeah.
That's business. The government, especially the U.S. Sorry, the U.S. itself is the United States of America, not the United Supreme Overlords of the world. But the U.S. has its fingers into everything in every country. Yeah. And when the U.S. as a whole snaps its fingers and wants something, it happens. Why? It's because they are the moving juggernaut. You are part of what I want, or we steamroll you over. Well, we don't have, I'm not making money off of Facebook. Well, we better get in there. It's money, plain and simple money. Because what are they going to do? Okay, they're going to make it, okay, you need to open up your venues, or you need to open it up that you can have competition. But there's no way that they're going to say you can't make an offer to buy your competition, because that takes away business. Then that'll stop other businesses from trying to buy businesses and things like that. So go ahead, open it up. 10, 20, 30, 50 new ones sprout up. And then here comes Facebook. Guess what? We want you to become part of us. Here's some money. Look at that. Bang. We own you.
So just to give a little bit of context to what Juggernaut was saying, back in 2012, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion. And then if we look at 2014, WhatsApp was acquired for almost $20 billion. Like, those are some insane. People use these platforms and like, oh, it's free. Nothing's ever for free. People think that your cell phones only give you ads because of the things that you vocally say. It's not true. You could type something through a platform like Instagram, Facebook, or WhatsApp even, and those advertisements are still going to be hit. You don't have to say it anymore. You could text it and they find you.
Yep. There's shows on Netflix about the algorithm and what it actually an algorithm is, how it functions for service ads and things like that, all the way from things that we use. What did we have? It was in 2020 where an application Mobdro was installing the SDK, the Illuminati SDK, which it was becoming part of the swarm in order to get information, in order to personalize ads. It's in everything we use. It's just, you protect yourself as best as possible, but it's in everything we use. So when you are these companies, there's no stopping them. Something will happen where they'll try to concede or try to do something, but it's still going to keep growing and growing. And the government just wants their piece. They just want their piece of the pie. And it's a huge pie. But the government, you know what the government reminds me of? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was only a person in Apple that said, hey, I want this to do something. I'm turning to my engineers and my programmers, everything. You make it happen. It wasn't him who was saying, this is how we make it. This is how I program it. This is how it comes together. This is how I designed it. No, you thought of it brilliantly. You thought of it, but someone else made it happen. The government, someone else is making it happen. We want part of it, so now it's our idea.
Did you just say Steve Jobs?
Yes.
Okay, because they're also blocking, Apple is blocking some of the features in Facebook right now. So I thought it was interesting that you brought up Steve Jobs. They're like, listen, we think that it's an invasion of human rights that you are forcing people to have these personalized ads. So we're blocking that feature from you. And then when you start to block on a mass scale on all devices personalized ads, affiliate marketing as a whole gets affected. Right? It drops significantly. So there's a lot of people at Facebook. There's a lot of people with the companies that, advertise through Facebook that are upset because some of the changes that Apple's doing. So I thought that was pretty funny.
I can't stand Apple. Apple's going to be one of those, like, if Apple doesn't watch themselves, they're going to be phased out. Like what they're doing, I think they're going to be phased out. Like, for one, it's too expensive. Like, everything that they got is expensive. Two, they're trying to get into the whole Apple, what is it, the TV? They're trying to get into the whole TV platform. They're doing okay, but it's only fanboys that are buying that stuff. And even then, a lot of people are now starting to say, hey, I need to get away from this and go with that now because I got more freedom to do stuff. There's so, like, Apple is fighting with so many people at the same time. Like Fortnite, they're fighting with Fortnite, like Epic Games. It's like there's so many things that it's happening with them, and I think Apple thinks that they have this huge stake in the market that says, hey, you know what, we're the best, and it's just like, well, at one point you were, but there's so many other things that are just better than you guys. And you guys are not doing anything innovative anymore for quite some time now. It's the same thing. They're just like, hey, let's add another camera to our phone. Doesn't make much of a difference when you're taking pictures. And then you got your Samsung phones, you got your OneNotes, you got all these different companies coming out with all their stuff. And now, like, the conversation now, when you start asking people, literally, I asked my mom, like, hey mom, what phone do you got? I got this stupid iPhone. And it's just like, why are you calling it stupid? And she's like, the thing is crap. Every time I go buy one, it's the same crap. It lasts for a good year, and then it starts slowing down, and then it's done. And I think people are starting to get fed up with it. If this happened, where people say, screw this crap, I'm going back to Android, what's going to happen to iOS at that point?
Well, with iOS, the thing that I noticed is that anybody who's used them, if you use it for specific things, they tend to be rock solid until they're not. But when iPhone 12 came out, because there's like a 13 coming already, when the iPhone 12 came out, now just picture, you're going to a car dealership, nice new shiny 2020 car. Man, nice car. Get in, won't turn over. Why is that? Well, there's no battery. Oh, was it electric or gas? It's gas. But I don't see a fill spout. Yeah, there isn't one. What? Yeah, there isn't one. The tank's there, the gas tank's there, but there's no way for you to put your gas in. You have to buy that separately. Oh, what? Okay. And you have to buy the battery separately. Oh, and an alternator to charge it separately. Oh, and the radio. Yeah, the radio separately. It's not an add-on. It's things that you have to pay to get it put in there, or you just don't get it. It's not standard. Oh, really? Well, I'm not buying this car. I'm gonna go buy a Chev.
You know,
Well, when Apple did that, and my friends going opened it, I'm like, oh, they changed the charger again this year. He goes, it doesn't come with a charger. I said, you're lying. He goes,
or headphones.
our headphones. I'm like, what?
So, you know, I've never owned an Apple device or that I've paid for. I did win an iPod through a company I worked with a long time ago. But I will say one thing about Apple, and they do this really well. You can deny it if you want, but marketing. And the reason I say that is because my girlfriend's kids and all of their friends, literally at Christmas, they were all in the same house. And my girlfriend has a Galaxy Note. She did not have a charger for her phone, and not a single person had a charger that she could use because everybody in that house, all of the kids, there was 8 of them, had anything for Android. It was all iPhones. So marketing, they're hitting the youth, and everybody is on that playing field. They love it. So, you know, marketing to them, they've always been fantastic. They present some of these advertisements like full on movies, like, oh, you're like, oh, this is cool. This is space age. This is futuristic. And they're just representing something that Android did like 5 years ago. So whatever.
Well, and marketing is the market share. They've done things smart. That, you know, a business is a business. When you go to schools, I don't know if you have, you know, the kids in school, or you know any kids in school or things like that. And if you ask them, do you use any electronic devices like iPads or drawing tables or things like that? They're Apple. My kid's school is all iPads. All iPads.
Yep.
Well, they started them young. Yeah. So in grade 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you know, in your grades, and you can use them at school and they can be provided for you, and they're Apple products. What happens when I want a phone? Apple. It's already in your head. Apple. You know, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, wanted to talk about this real quick on Telegram. I know we briefly talked about it earlier. Telegram, people have been saying, hey, you want to learn how to use the K app. Hey, you want to learn how to use third-party app. Hey, you want to learn how to do all this, you know, screw YouTube, screw with all their policies, screw with the policies of the UK, screw policies of Hollywood, MPA, screw all the policies. Just let me do whatever the hell I want. Everybody go to Telegram. Follow me. So the EU has now added Telegram to its privacy watch list.
Yep.
So with the EU now watching Telegram, we've seen this in the past. We've seen this in the past where all of a sudden a group no longer exists. And I think you even get a little pop-up. I know Next Level, you were telling me this. The pop-up says,
oh, I can't even remember what it says.
The group is no longer accessible, or
yeah, something like no longer accessible, could be due to copyright or something. I can't remember what the pop-up says now, but irregardless, you can try to access it. And the funny thing is, if you're using modified versions of Telegram, you might still be able to get around that. But for the most part,
and this whole thing where Telegram has now, they're moving into this monetization thing. Do you know more on that?
I don't. And the first thing I said to myself when I heard that was, well, I hope I can get a piece of that pie, because I'm bringing the traffic, I'm bringing the eyes to the groups and to the channels. It would be nice if I could monetize my channel. I know I don't have a choice. It doesn't sound like I'm going to have a choice about them putting advertisements in the application, but at least allow me to be a creator on your platform. You know?
Yeah. I don't think I saw anything about we could monetize, or the only thing I could see is like an ad that they might throw on the top or bottom, or some, like there's going to be an ad placement somewhere within the app, you know, and it's going to be very, like, I hope they do it similar to like what Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, where it just kind of flows. It's just there and
scroll.
Yeah, part of the scroll. Like if they do something like that, okay, I'm with it. At the same time, I'm just like, I think they said they had like 500 million users. I don't know, but with the EU, and I know again, I don't want to call anybody out on YouTube, all you content creators, but you know who you are. And all the end users, for anybody out there saying like, oh, this isn't a problem, I could find out my third party information on how to Plex, MB, Cyberflix, whatever it is that you're using. I could find my information if I join so and so's Telegram and ask, hey, what is the best IPTV to use? No, because chances are you're either going to get booted from the group, 2, they're going to delete your message and probably warn you, or 3, after so many offenses, because you got to think about it. Telegram is going to have some sort of algorithm now. They're going to have to, when they're adding ads, they have to. So if they have an algorithm that says, hey, all these people love movies and TV shows, let's throw a Disney Plus ad on there. Let's throw HBO Max on there. Let's throw, wait a minute, are they talking about infringement stuff? Delete the group, gone. That's literally what's going to happen there. And they don't have to, just like YouTube, they don't need your permission. They don't need to say, hey, this is your warning, we're going to delete you. No, it's again, the laws of the land state XYZ, so you're going to have to follow XYZ, even though Telegram is not telling you about it. It is what it's going to be. And I don't know. It's definitely getting tighter though.
Well, it's part and parcel. In order to have anything that is not physically someone sitting there and monitoring the channel to say, okay, this is the type of ad to put in there, it's going to be a program. It's going to be in Telegram, the use of bots. Now, if they go to do that and do a bot where it's just random ads, then I could see it being a little bit different. But if we start seeing ads that start to follow conversation trends within that group, then that means they're monitoring that channel. Yeah. And yes, then somebody higher up is going to be like, okay, well, because we want to monetize it and we're going to be doing ads, the ads. Now, if YouTube did not have ads, and the people regulating and saying, well, we don't want to see our ads about, Disney content on someone who's talking about going hunting and killing something, whatever the guidelines are. If they didn't have advertisers, with some stipulations, we wouldn't have community guidelines. There would be the normal ones, I would think, more morals, like no criminal activities on there and stuff like that. But I mean, it would be less restrictive. Now, when we start having monetization or ads in Telegram, that is going to funnel in there. Because if I'm a business and I want my ad in there and I'm paying Telegram to actually put it in to people's eyes, I want to make sure it's hitting the right spots and things like that, and not frivolously just being thrown everywhere and that. So there's going to be guidelines. Well, once that happens, it's a wrap. I think Telegram would be monitored too much.
It's interesting because we knew that there was a lot of changes in regards to the community, how the information is shared and all that kind of stuff, right? But I think that the community as a whole needs to understand that better. I've recently dropped a video on a Chromebook review. It was one of my first videos that I did outside of the streaming community. And one of the first comments says, wow, change has hit the streaming community like lightning. Well, shit, no shit, Sherlock. Like, we have to make the changes, right? So if you're like, oh, we've left YouTube when we've gone to Telegram, cool. Don't expect everything to be the same or all in one place. We are what we are. We're content creators. We're tech enthusiasts. We have information, but unfortunately, we can only share certain bits of that information. So take it what you will, but the information is going to be in several places. You may have to go several places. You can no longer go one place and get everything. You're going to have to be understanding and respectful as a community as we continue to evolve and change with the platforms that we're unfortunately have to engage with.
Yep. Or we die.
Yeah. And you don't want that.
Nope. No, you don't want that. Well, I want some content. No.
So there's one last lighthearted thing I wanted to kind of just to mention, and I thought it was pretty funny. Now, Jugs and I are not in the States, and I saw this article come out in the States where it said, the title says, "Cable companies can no longer rent you the router that you already own," and I was like, "What?" so apparently, it was still allowed that if you bought your router in the States, some companies were still allowed to charge you a rental fee. So it wasn't until December 20th that they made that a thing that you weren't allowed to do anymore as a cable provider.
And nobody yeah. Of course, see, sorry, Rojas, that's the US. Canada, we'd be like, what? I'm getting charged $5 for something I already own?
They'd be like, sorry, yeah?
No. We cheap up here. We look at our bills.
I don't know which company does that, because I know with Spectrum, the one that we're using right now is I could use my own modem and router and I don't get charged for it. I know Spectrum is going weird. There's like two parts of Spectrum. You have like Time Warner, and then you got Comcast, but they're both owned by Spectrum. So depending if you're on the Time Warner side or the Comcast side, one of them will allow you to use your own modem and router, where the other one does not allow you, but won't charge you to use theirs. But the bill is a little bit higher than normal. It's just like, I thought you guys aren't charging me. They're like, we're not. We're just charging you a little bit more for your internet. It's like, why?
The article stated that it was a Frontier in particular that was notorious for charging customers $10 a month, even if they had their own equipment.
Now that makes sense. Frontier is garbage. Frontier sucks.
So in the lines of we're talking about service providers, stuff like that. What do you guys know are your opinion on the SpaceX, the rural internet connections that Elon Musk has put out, that the network and the satellites? See, the only reason why it's not happening in Canada right now, so is because we're waiting on Spectrum. Spectrum won't release something that he needs to actually be fully in Canada, but it's in the States, and some people have it.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't looked too much into it yet.
Well, it's all rural, and they were saying that they were hoping, and about the speeds of 50 megabits, and they're getting average between 50 and 160 rural. So like rural locations that don't have services that previously would be using like Bell or another type of satellite service or things like that. The only difference is you have to buy. There's an investment right off the bat. You have to buy their equipment, and then it's like $100 a month or something like that. But in Canada, like I have a friend who lives 30 minutes away, and their internet is just crap. No matter what they use, the services that go out there, they can't get more than it fluctuates at 212. And I told them about this, and they looked into it, and they said it's not yet available because of Spectrum, because Spectrum in Canada owns rights to some of the frequencies that they need. So they have to get that, because they got approval from, what is it, like the CRTC and all stuff like that. And as soon as Spectrum releases that, boom, they're going to get it. It's available to them. Boom. Yeah. And but friends that are right near the U.S. and Canada border that are rural are getting 160 megabits download and things like that. So they're able to do all that, and it's all satellite views, like satellite. And they're not the only one. There's other ones that are coming out. 3 other big league players are putting up systems.
Yep. I thought Amazon was also looking into something like this as well too.
They already have satellites going up, but it won't be done
in
2022 or something.
I think that there's a lot of people that do just general browsing, right? Great. Don't need super low latencies and all that stuff. This is going to be great for like 99% of the population. But there's a lot more people today than ever before that are doing content creation. And I have these conversations all the time with Rojas. I'm like, great. You can give me, even on regular providers, you can give me a gig down, 1.5 down. what the hell is my upload speed? And I'm legit upset about this because I spent a whole day. I live in the city, right? Like where I live, I'm pretty much a city with like, 700,000 people in Canada. That's a city. I know that's probably rural in the States, but I struggled for a whole day searching what was the highest upload speed I could get. And the highest one I could get was through a business plan at 50 megabytes a second. My girlfriend lives in the country, legit, by the native reserves. And because she's got a brand new provider that's in her area, she's able to get 200 down and 200 up. And I'm like, whoa, hold the horses. I'm in the city and I'm struggling with 10 megabytes up. And if I want to get up to 50, I have to spend, 12 times more than what I'm spending right now. It's just ridiculous. And then she's in the rural side, and like, it's great, but I think that there has to be a change when it comes to internet as a whole for how society is starting to use it more. I mean, even if people are not monetizing what they're doing on the internet, there's a lot more of us creating content like TikTok and Snapchat and whatever you're doing on the internet these days than ever before. OnlyFans, whatever it is that you do, you're uploading more content than ever before.
How do you know about my OnlyFans page?
Because I'm your only fan, Jug.
I show off my beard.
He's like, I want the Jug plug.
Oh God.
You started it. So with all that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this what the hell episode. It's a little longer than usual. But we like it because there's a lot of content on here. So make sure you guys do leave us a review in the comment section below on the different podcast platforms, wherever you guys are at. Same on YouTube. Make sure you guys do leave us a comment. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you guys think with some of these what the hell episodes. And be careful, guys out there. There's a lot of dumb people. Just don't be one of them, please. We try to bring you guys some light. Well, yeah, don't be stupid. Don't go out and be like, I want to open up a store and sell a jailbroken Fire Stick, and I'm going to put a sign that says the jailbroken Fire Stick store.
Free Disney Plus.
Yeah, free internet, free jug plugs.
Oh God.
Jug plugs. So, Jugs, anything you got to say before we get out of here?
Well, I always say live for today because tomorrow's not guaranteed, and I stand by that. But before I say that little spiel is when we say do your research, when you're watching this, you're going to hear a lot of information flying at you and things like that. I want you to take it for face value, but I also want you to go and do more research. Not just because you like my pretty face or you think that I'm abrupt in your face or you've been fans of Rohas and Next Level separately and now together, and whatever your content creator is or whatever your information source is, whatever, look at all the different places. And when you're looking for information, especially legal information, whatever that you're looking for, can I do this? Always turn around and put in the search. Is it illegal to do this? Or what are the consequences if I do this? Things like that. So everything, because we did do a bunch of legal talk here about copyrights and things like that and just talking and shooting the business. But always do your research because there's things that we may or may not know, and we just go by on the opinions that we have plus the information that we've learned. And we may be right, we may be wrong. We like to think that we are, but I'm always willing to learn. So do your research. Trust in the multiple sources that you have. So that being said, I want to thank you guys for having me on here. I like this. This is, it's a privilege. I like when you guys do this. You two are leading the pack. And I say it to whoever's watching, no matter what group you're with, no matter what clique, what creator, whatever you are watching this because these two are forging a path for all of us to follow. No one else is doing it. No one else has, and they're kicking ass at doing it, and it's paying off royally. So knowledge-wise, promotion-wise, watch-wise, revenue-wise, whatever it is, they're killing it. So I'm definitely following them. So I thank you guys for having me on here. And as I said, live for today because tomorrow's not guaranteed. If by chance you're called home by whatever power you hold up high, I want to make sure I'm thinking no negative thoughts about you. I want to cherish the memories and celebrate your life. So that being said, love, peace, and chicken grease.
So
Peace and chicken grease.
I always get teary-eyed when Jug talks about what we're doing. I think a lot of times we move such at a fast pace that we don't even see what we're doing a lot of times. Just to mention one thing really quickly, Rojas, myself, Juggernaut, we're one person in one little place in this big entire world among billions of people. What we say, what we do, what works for us may not be what is right for you in your location, wherever you live in your world, in your situation. So be specific when you're doing your research. Is this right for me where I live or whatever it is? Just be specific. Jug, it's always a pleasure to have conversations with you. I absolutely we love having you on the show. And I think that we've talked in the past about having you on a What the Hell episode. And this has been a blast. I've had so much fun. So thank you for, taking the time and just kicking it with us and having these conversations. It's been a blast, man. So thank you.
Yeah, and with all that being said, make sure you guys do check the description below for the links. A big shout out to FCD Box. So make sure you guys do check out the description below, check them out. And then one last thing is get yourself a freaking VPN because you guys have no idea what the hell is going to happen with all these freaking apps and services and whatever law is going to change. Just along with washing that ass, protect that ass. So, with all that being said, you guys take care of each other.
And stay humble and be patient. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.